Good afternoon, and welcome to More Than Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today I will be talking to you about Transformers Legacy Commander Class Motormaster. Here he is in all of his big truck glory. This guy is a weighty SOB. Yes, he is. He is really well put together. It's a cool Transformer, and I am looking forward to talking to you about him today. If you like what you see here and you want to see more of it, go below and do everything everyone else asks you to do. And while you're at it, go ahead and, invite that like button to a party and then totally ghost it. Okay, so let's talk about the Motormaster. And first off, we're going to talk siege ports because, I love me some siege ports. So let's get ourselves a siege port gun. We can use Dragstrip's gun, I think. Yeah, we can use Dragstrip's gun here. Dragstrip, give me your gun. So we're going to put Dragstrip right there. Okay, so first off, let's find some siege ports with this gun. He's got a siege port in each of his hands, though I do have to say, missed opportunity there, Hasbro. Why, you could have given us some opening and shutting hands. That would have been neat. I would have liked that. That would have been really cool to have some opening and shutting hands because, it's a commander class, so you might as well give us that little extra bit of articulation. But you didn't. Okay. So that's two siege ports. He's got a siege port on his back. I think that acts as a siege port. Yes, it's a very tight siege port, but it acts as a siege port, and that's the trailer hitch. I do love that the trailer hitch is just there on his back. And it's not, put together by combining two separate things together. He's got these parts on his leg that look like siege ports. Ooh, they feel like siege ports. You're like, these are siege ports, aren't they? No, they're screw holes. There's a screw in there. They could have pegged this stuff together, but instead they screwed it together. And then they could have covered up the screw hole or made the plastic there a bit longer so that you could actually use it as a siege port. But instead, they just left it open and left you with the tantalizing aspect that the siege port could or could not be there. I'm going to call this the first quantum port because it's not really a siege port, but when you don't put anything in it and you look at it from a distance, it looks like a siege port. So as long as you believe it's a siege port and don't try the experiment of putting something in there, then it's a siege port. But the moment that you try to make it into a siege port by applying a gun, you discover it's not a siege port. Therefore, it's the quantum siege port. It is only according to perspective. Okay, so we'll move on down to the feet. Let's see if he's got any siege ports underneath his toesies. You got any toesy-woesy siege ports? You got a wheel, but they didn't do the thing they did with Bulkhead. They didn't give us a siege port, wheeled siege ports. Those are kind of neat. I like the wheeled siege ports that came with Bulkhead. You can't put anything there that's supposed to stand up or anything. But if you have a shield that has a heavier bottom, or if you have some sort of like I use Verna jets and stuff like that, it works out pretty well with the wheel. And underneath the foot, that wheel having a siege port would have been amazing because this is actually the first Transformer that I think I've had on this show that doesn't have a siege port underneath his foot. Wait, there's been one more. Brunt? The Weaponizer. The Weaponizer from Siege. The Decepticon Weaponizer from Siege also had no siege ports on the bottom of his... Well, no. He had one siege port. One of his feet didn't have a siege port. It just had a little doohickey that unfolded. So, wow. This is the least siege-ported vehicle that we have come across yet in this entire thing. And I have to say, I am very upset with the lack of siege ports. Very unhappy with the lack of siege ports. 3 siege ports? 3 siege ports on a figure this size? I was upset that, Rodimus Prime had very few siege ports. But Rodimus Prime still had like 9 siege ports. So just, wow. Just wow. Okay, so after the disappointment of siege ports, let's talk about what else this figure can offer us. So we will go into articulation, and then we will go into sculpt work. Articulation-wise, he's got the normal stuff for the shoulder that we've seen. the arms barely pull a 90, which is upsetting. They could have given us another joint there. But also, you know, you got to think, this thing's supposed to be crazy combiner, so, you know, got to take into that into account. But it would have been nice to get at least another hinge in the elbow. Double jointed elbows, the hand does spin 360 degrees. It has no sort of swivel to it or anything like that, but it does spin. And that's nice. It's nice to have some hand articulation like that. So that's the arms. You know, the shoulders, like I said, are normal. No butterfly in the shoulders, though. The head is actually on a very loose, on a kind of loose joint, but it feels like a ball joint. And the head can move, you know, 360 degrees. The head can't look up. The head can't look down. The head can't look left. The head can't, well, the head can't wobble left or right. The head is static. It is sitting on one single bit. I don't think it's a ball joint at all. I think it's more of one of those joints that you slide into. So there's that. The body has a waist swivel of 360 degrees. And yeah, there is no core swivels or core joints at all for this. Move on down to the legs. The side to side has got a soft ratchet, and the up and down, or the back and forth, has got a hard ratchet. So I just, you know, that's still kind of annoying. I wish that the side to side was also a hard ratchet, because these soft ratchets do deteriorate over time, and that can be a little annoying. We can also, you know, because of the transformation and stuff, he does get a double jointed knee. Ooh, double jointed knee. So that's nice. We at least get that. And coming down here to his feet, you got the ankle rocker, and the feet can't do anything else other than that. There is no movement up or down. There's only the side-to-side ankle rockers. And I do appreciate, and I don't know, I didn't really mention this much in the Blindformers episode, but I love how they turned the ankle rocker into a part of the transformation. Like, you have to use the ankle rocker and push the foot out, and then twist the foot 360 degrees before, 180 before putting it back. I love that. I think that's really cool. That is a neat transformation part, and I really didn't point that out enough in the Blindformers episode. So that's articulation. He's got a decent amount of articulation. Definitely still more articulation than, you know, the Titan's Return stuff. It is the type of articulations that we have been, you know, groomed to expect since the War for Cybertron line started, and it hasn't dispelled us of that. We even got a spinning hand, which is a rare joint to get in Transformers. And I mean, heck, there was a time elbows were rare joints to get in Transformers, so yay. Here I am being all cross because it's only got a single joint, and, you know, not even 10 years ago there wasn't a joint. Sometimes. So, let's talk about sculpt work now. Sculpt work wise, first I'm going to mention the thing that I absolutely hate about Transformers when they do it, and that's waffling. Ooh, I do not like waffling. I am not a person of waffling. I am a person of parts form it before you waffle it. Just don't give me that waffle. No waffles. I like my waffles with butter and syrup, but don't like them on my toys. So, here we go. No waffling. He doesn't even have, he's got these two negative spaces right behind his knees, but they're covered up with these back panels for his legs. Other than that, he's got no negative spaces. He is a solid boy. You know, you lift up his arm, look underneath his shoulder where they may hide some waffling. No waffling there. You go to lift up his leg, look underneath the leg, see if they hide any waffling in there. No waffling in there. It's no waffling. Under the foot where they hide waffling, oh, they didn't hide any waffling there either, because they just didn't have the space to waffle anything. Everything about this guy needed to be something that's part of either the truck transformation, the Menasor transformation, or the robot transformation. They didn't have time to waffle things. They didn't have the space to waffle things. This is amazing. I love this. And it's a solid figure. This guy weighs almost as much as the Rodimus Prime. I know that his trailer definitely weighs more than Rodimus Prime and Rodimus Prime's trailer combined. This guy, though, still weighs about the same, if not a little more, than the Rodimus Prime. Now, sculpt work-wise, they've done some really cool stuff here. So we're going to talk about that. For one, on the inside of his arms, you've got the sculpted fuel, the silver fuel tanks that are on the side of semi-trucks. Yeah, that's on the inside of his arm. I love how this guy transforms, and that the front of the vehicle becomes most of it. Well, the back of the vehicle becomes the top, and then the front of the vehicle becomes the bottom. It completely flipped the script on the Optimus Prime mold stuff. Now we come over here to the arms. Let's see, more stuff about the arms. It's very minimal texture on the arms. You've got really well sculpted hands, and the arms do feel like they are just heavily armored. And you come up here, you got something that I missed. I didn't find this before. So let's see. Is that a siege port that I just found? No way. No way. Nope, that's not a siege port. I thought it was. It's got all the qualifications of a siege port without actually being a siege port. Oh well. I was excited there for a second. I was like, oh, I found a siege port. Oh, I'm Prime's so happy. Okay, so sculpt work. He's got this weird little divot in the top of his shoulder. That's part of the transformation, as I recall. Something's supposed to connect into there. And yeah, his arms are pretty bland when it comes to sculpt work. Other sculpt work, his head is really fun. He's got this big square head, and it's got these little bits on top of it that come up. It reminds me a lot of like Finn's hood from Adventure Time, just on how the points came up on the sides. And it's very flat on the top. And you come in here to his face sculpt. He's got a pronounced nose, and can't really get my finger in there to feel his mouth too much. It feels decent. It feels like he's got a mouth in there, and you know, he's got a very big forehead and his deep set eyes there. Yeah, that's really, you know, that head sculpt is wild, and I just think it's funny. He's got such a big nose, and yeah, that's his head sculpt. He's got some nice texturing on either side of his head to do flat lines that actually have, you know, texture to them. That's cool. Horizontal lines that run across the sides of his helmet. It'd been neat if they were painted or maybe blackwashed. I have no idea if they are. Now we'll come down to his chest. We got some textures here. We've got truck textures. We've got, he's got some little wheel textures, I think, from what I heard. It's, his chest has a lot of textures on it, but nothing's really pronounced very well, which is kind of a shame. Like, I feel the front panel. Oh, man, why do I always blank on these things? The grill, the front grill. There's a grill there. Good grief. And we come over here to the sides, and we get some wheel textures, but not much. Like I said, they went very minimalistic on the texturing and sculpt work for this guy's front. It's a little sad, but it does feel heavily armored, even though there's kind of a joint right there. But that joint does feel like it's part of his armor. So that's the impression I'm getting from the feel of his chest area is armor for days. This guy can't really be hurt much. And it's a shame that they didn't do a better job with the sculpt work there. You're not feeling much. I mean, you're feeling some, like I feel something there, but I'm not sure what that is. And I think that's the issue, is it's light sculpt work, but it's not enough sculpt work to actually figure out what the thing is. Like, what right here on my fingers feeling? I got these little bumps and stuff. I'm thinking they may be the wheels, because somebody said on one of the reviews that he's got a faux front that's got little wheels because of mass forming, but I'm not sure. Let me know what y'all think. Anyway, we're moving away from the chest, and we're going to spin him around to the back. He's got a very clean backpack, very smooth, and you got, you know, the only bit of vehicle kibble, these wheels and the hitch, which the hitch is also the siege port on his back, and that's very nice. I love that this hitch has this circle pattern that runs around it. That's really cool. And they kind of implied with texture the part of the hitch that's you know, where you a normal truck hitch. I don't know if y'all been near semis and actually, you know, seen it or felt it, but it's this circle, this big circle, and then it comes into like a key shape. So whenever the truck moves forward, the actual trailer hitch is going to go down and lock into place. And then it's not really going to move around much. And then you can unlock it and back the truck up and get to the bigger hole area to remove the trailer. So they implied that with the texture, and that's really cool. Let's move around to the front of the vehicle, the robot. We're getting down to the waist area here. His crotch plate feels nice. He's got, he doesn't really have any skirts on the sides, what happened to skirts in robots? Why do the robots get rid of all their skirts? Very weird. We've got really cool texturing going down on these legs. The texturing from the arms is found here on the legs. There is plenty to go. Feels like vents, maybe some hydraulics, maybe some wires, little pieces of metal. And then we come over here to his lower leg, past the knee. The knee pad is the top sleeper portion of the cab of the truck, and it comes out very well here. I love the texture work on the truck mold, and making this into the knee pad was just so fun, especially since you have the that glass, the window that's facing down right there, and it gives an idea on how big this robot is. I like that. We come down here to the rest of the leg, and we got a lot of smooth sculpt work going on over here. There is different paneled style work, like here with this little bit that comes off to the side. You've got what feels like panels that are actually welded together, and then the front of the foot itself has got some good sculpt work on it. And yeah, I think that's a window. I think that's really cool. I like the sculpt work on this guy. I like the weight of this guy. I like Motormaster. Motormaster is up there with my favorite commander class. Rodimus Prime is a very good commander class, and I really like Rodimus Prime. And I'm labeling this guy as equal with Rodimus in the sense of at least the robot mode. Rodimus's robot mode is a little better than his, but then his is a little better in other ways. So that's really cool. Now, the worst part about this guy, because, I've got to have a gripe. And the gripe here is that he has no heels. And I don't know what's going on with the Stuntacons, but we got drag strip right here. Flip around to the back. Drag strip's got no heels either. They could have given us some fold-out heels for drag strip, but they didn't. But drag strip's small, so it's okay he doesn't have heels. We got this big guy, though. Now, this guy, he's big. He needs a little flip-out heel going on. He needs some heel action. You could have given us a panel to give us some heel action. Like, there's literally a panel right there that could have just folded down. Or instead of having this panel fold off to the side, you could have had this panel fold down to the back, and then had it unfold, had it lay against the ground, or just lay against the back of the foot to just add that little bit more. Because that's all you need on a heel. You just need a little bit. You don't need much. You don't need much for a good heel. But anyway, guys, that's my review of Motormaster. After playing with the transformation, and playing with the vehicle mode, and playing with Motormaster himself, I would have to say the overall rating of this guy is a 7.5 out of 10. There's parts of the vehicle mode that I disliked and I thought could be improved. And the transformation is where it wins. I didn't have any problems with the transformation. I really love the transformation. The transformation gets a 10 out of 10. It does some fun things. It's a fun transformation. You're not going to get caught up on something and scream and yell. Like, the most difficult part of it, and actually now that I'm thinking about it, would be a 9.5 out of 10. And that's mainly because of this part right here with his arms. These arms, once they get in there, they're difficult to get out. And since they use that weird feeling plastic that feels fragile for the trailer hitch where these arms plug in, it makes you, squeamish unplugging them. And that's my negative on the transformation. On the vehicle mode, I got no problems. I wish it could connect more, the trailer could have connected to more transformers, but the truck mode itself is top-notch, though it is a bit wider than normal. And but that's understood, it being a big load truck that's also, it's carrying a heavy load. So those are usually, when you find those types of trucks on the interstates and stuff, they are usually wider trucks anyway. So this guy applies. Transformation, you know, so I'll give his vehicle mode an 8.5 out of 10. An 8.5 out of 10. There were some improvements that could be made. The wheels on the trailer flop out. There's just the little bitty things to make it like masterpiece level. But it's so close. It's such an awesome figure in the vehicle mode. In the transformation mode is amazing. And then in robot mode, we've got no waffling. We've got no, really great articulation. And it's just that, between the fact that, and this is a bias of mine, he doesn't have any siege ports, and he only has 3 siege ports, and he doesn't have any heals, so he is difficult to pose like that. And other than that, yeah, this is a great robot mode. I've got no qualms with it. It does everything else pretty amazingly well. It's just, I wish it had more articulation, and I also wish it had more siege ports. So that's why the robot mode is going to get an 8.5 out of 10. So, got, actually, now that I've said it all out loud, I guess the overall ranking score would be like an 8.7 out of 10. He is a good figure. I recommend getting him. I recommend getting him before Christmas, because this is a commander class figure that's also the center of a major combiner that people will want. They'll want this Menosaur. And whenever people want something in these days, itchy nose, the price is just going to go through the roof. So if you can find this at a decent price, then pick it up. I'm telling you, I don't think it's worth the 90. I think it's worth more of the original Commander class price point. This guy's totally there at it. And good luck to all of you, and thank you for watching. Tune in next Prime. We will be talking about... What will we be talking about? Well, we'll be talking about something. Oh, I've got to get back to Legos. I've been so preoccupied doing other things and setting up for the fundraiser with the HasLab His Tank, and I've let the Legos slip. So, next video is going to be me explaining to you how to continue building that middle section, because we just left that thing unfinished. It's sitting right over here. It's just not doing anything. I need to really work on that. All right, well, I'll let you go for now. Thank you for watching.